now, ladies and gentlemen, he's a 4-time NFL MVP. He is a host of one of the top sports podcasts in the history of sports podcasts that drop every single Tuesday during NFL seasons for the last 4 or 5 years. 5 years, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, a first ballot Hall of Famer and a free agent quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
Yay!
Hello, Mr. Handsome.
How's my internet?
Okay, all right. Your internet's great. I know you're probably, where are you right now? Are you at that same place we saw you walking on the beach with the towel and the blanket and open to everything attached to nothing?
I'm hanging out with this guy.
What up, Apollo?
And I'm looking out at the, you know what? There's actually a couple dolphins out there. I might need to get out there and get some of that good healing energy.
Yeah.
But there actually are two dolphins just raised up. It's very serendipitous.
Well, don't get out there because we know they like to, you know what we know.
They'll get you.
Yep. You know what we know. They are a horny bunch from what we've been told. We don't know that in particular, but we've just read that around places. Shout out to the dog. That's Apollo, right? I think I learned the name.
That is. Yes, it is, yeah.
How old?
He's born on Christmas. So he's not quite 4 months.
Way to go, Apollo. Welcome to the world,
He's
buddy.
a handful. He's a handful.
Hey, you have a puppy. That's a wild thing to have. You're a first-time free agent quarterback, and you have a puppy. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, so being a dog dad has been a massive piece of your life, I assume, over the last few months. As of April 17th, where do we kind of sit in your world right now? How is everything kind of gone? Because there has been a lot of things projected and said about what you're doing, what you're thinking, where you're at. Where are you at right now on April 17th as a human, we shall say?
I'm in Malibu looking at the dolphins right now.
Yeah, you get it. Mindset. You understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying.
Listen, I live kind of a quiet life. If it weren't for my buddy Tim and my sister Mia, I wouldn't hear about a lot of the bullshit that's out there.
Nice.
But Mia finally said, listen, you got to go on the show and just set some of these ridiculous rumors and all these people who said they're close to me, sources, just set them straight, because there's been a lot of bullshit out there. And again, 90% of it I wouldn't hear about if it wasn't for Mia or Tim. So shout out to both of them, because I'm sure they're watching. But
shout out.
But yeah, it's been an interesting break for me. But yeah, I've been hanging out with Apollo, and enjoying my time.
Okay, so I'm assuming that Tim and Mia shout out, and thank you for watching if they are watching, and thank you for joining us to clarify some things. I assume what they're alluding to is all the different reports about what your football future kind of is going to look like. Over the last 2 months, we'll say, since free agency kind of started, it's been a lot of buzz. You're holding teams hostage with not giving them an answer. You're waiting out for another place. Or you might end up back staying at home in New Jersey for the Giants. Is there anything you kind of want to set straight here off the top as we dive into a lot of these conversations that have been happening about you that maybe you haven't been participating in at all over the last couple of months?
Yeah, I'll set it all straight. I have no problem. Listen, from the jump, it's, I'm in a different phase of my life. I'm 41 years old. I'm in a serious relationship. I have off the field stuff going on that requires my attention. I have personal commitments I made, not knowing what my future was going to look like after last year, that are important to me. And I have, a couple of people in my inner circle who are really battling some difficult stuff. So I have a lot of things that are taking my attention, and have beginning in really January, away from football, and that's been where I've been focusing most of my attention on. To make a commitment to a team is a big thing, whether you're a first-year player or a 20-year vet. And I had a lot of great conversations with a lot of teams. Not one of those was the Jets, because that wasn't a great conversation.
We heard. So that was an accurate report. Okay, got it. Okay.
That was not an accurate report. We can get into that in a second. But
okay.
But I had some good conversations. But I've been upfront with all of them. I don't have anybody, working on my PR staff. Like Mia is the head of my PR. She tells me what the hell is going on if I need to know anything. I don't have any leaks. I have a very tight circle. I'm not out there putting shit out just to put shit out. That's just not how I operate. There's been a lot of people assuming they have information about me. That's just not true. I've been straight up with these teams from the start about where I was at, starting with the money thing. I told every single one of the teams I talked to, it ain't about the money. I play for 10 M's. I don't care. I never once said I need a multi-year deal, $30, $40 million. It's absolute bullshit. I said I play for 10. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I thought you were a selfish prick. Yeah. I thought that's what it was. I just saw a guy sign for $60 million or $55 million or whatever. You said you'd play for $10 million. Okay, so you saying you would play, that means you are thinking, is retirement still on the field? Like, where are you whenever it comes to like playing or not playing? Playing for $10 million, by the way, makes it very easy for a lot of teams to be able to accommodate you. What does that mean?
Well, that's what I told them in March. In the beginning, in the very beginning, you can ask any one of the teams I talked to. That was the conversation. But also the conversation about where I was at in my personal life, the stuff I'm dealing with off the field, in my inner circle. That has to take my attention right now. And so I wasn't, stringing anybody along. I wasn't holding anybody hostage. I was honest from the jump about where I was at mentally. And some of the constraints that I have in my life right now that warrant my attention. So yeah, I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. So yeah, retirement still could be a possibility. But right now, my focus has been and will continue to be on my personal life, and that's what I've told the coaches. There's still conversations that are being had. And, so it's all been very honest lines of communication. I've really appreciated the time I talked to the various teams, but there's been a lot of narratives that have not been anywhere near accurate. Starting with the Jets, continue with something I just read about, me pitching something to the Vikings. I know Ben, I only know this again because of Mia. Ben was on the show talking about me waiting around for the Vikings. That's not accurate either. I know there's, I'm sure, a lot of sentiment from both Packer fans, shit, even maybe Vikings fans about certain things, but no. I've known Kevin forever. I've known Kevin O'Connell since we used to work out at Fitness Quest 10, I think it was called, in San Diego County, in North County. I've known him for 17, 18 years, and we got a good friendship. So we talk outside of just, this off season. We keep in touch during the season. So we've had good communication. And
we're getting right to it.
Government shut them down.
The government just shut down your internet right there. We heard it. The NFL just shut down your internet there for a second.
Shoot.
But let's talk about.
Now we're back. We're back.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Ben Roethlisberger hypothesized, which is what a lot of people have been doing, because a lot of people assumed that a decision would have already been made in whether you're going to play football, who you're going to play football with, especially with the draft looming and free agency coming and going. I think you saying that there's a lot going on in your personal life that needs your attention, and I think you've told me a little bit more about that. I think if everybody kind of understood what was going on, I'm not saying you need to tell anybody's story, but it's like.
But they don't need to. They don't need to. I don't need. My personal life is my personal life, and I don't need to dive into there's a sensitivity around some of the stuff that's going on for sure, and it's very important to me. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of silly narratives out there. I'm sure people are assuming I've been sitting in a hole in the ground contemplating, or maybe down doing ayahuasca somewhere. I actually haven't done any of that. Nothing's on the horizon. Haven't been doing any of that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I
point.
clamored
He
up.
likes
Yeah,
it.
because it sounds like mentally
Yeah.
you don't need it.
Yeah.
Because remember, we only did those things whenever we were trying to find clarity.
Yeah, medicine.
We're trying to figure
Okay.
things out. So that's a good thing, I think.
Don't need the meds.
But if you were doing it, we would let you know. We probably would say,
I still
"Good
have
for
it.
you,
Hell yeah.
good for you." Yeah, we'd be happy for you, regardless. There, but yeah,
I think my next time I do that, I'm gonna have to take AJ down there because he needs some serious help.
Mother Ayahuasca. He actually has a question for you, Aaron.
Yeah, you mentioned the Jets earlier. We can get back to the ayahuasca situation later, but you mentioned the Jets. What was that meeting like? We heard, isn't that where they said, hey, you can't come on the Pat McAfee show?
No, but that was debunked later.
Oh,
but-
of course. But I'm saying, how was that meeting? You mentioned, we'll get back to this. Sounds like you want to talk about it. What was it?
Well, maybe that was hypothesized as something that was going to be part of a conversation. Is the internet good? Are we good here?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I'm sure they're trying to shut this part down, but listen. That was an interesting 2 years to say the least. But I figured that when I flew across country on my own dime, that there was going to be a conversation. And the confusing thing to me, and the strange thing was, when I went out there, I meet with the coach. We start talking.
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
See, they don't want this. They don't want.
Yeah,
this
no,
out
you're back.
there
You're
right
back. You're
now.
back.
They
You're
don't
back. You're
want
back.
this out there. They don't want this out there right now.
You're back.
So where did I leave you there?
You meet with the coach. You meet with the coach.
We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. I was like, then he comes back with the GM, and I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office, and I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country, and 20 seconds in, he goes, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his seat and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, they want to move on. That's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. You could have told me this on the phone. If we weren't even going to have a conversation, and this is verbatim exactly how it happened. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released, the messaging. And I said, verbatim, I don't give a shit about the message. And I said, why? And then he said, I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you.
Interesting.
And I said, what does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting undermining what you're saying? I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly, which is why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you to talk about my experience with the Jets and to hear your vision for the team. 20 seconds in. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there. But
so at that
yeah,
moment,
that was a strange meeting for
so
sure. There was no me pleading like, please have me on the team. No.
I don't know.
Well, I don't want any part of that. It was already a debacle in some cases. Listen, that whole situation was crazy. And I think even that was a little rogue by the head coach because I talked to the GM later about it. Christopher Johnson called me. Chris is a fantastic guy. Anybody that's ever met Christopher Johnson says the same thing. He's a phenomenal dude. He's about the right stuff. He's a sweet human being, and I'm thankful that I got to meet him and Doris because their friendship was a big bright spot in the organization. And there's a lot of great dudes there. There's great players there, great humans. There's great, guys in the equipment room, training room. Carmen and Maddie in the nutrition department, all the strength staff. There's a lot of great dudes there. But there's obviously some things that need to get fixed over there.
Yeah, it didn't go well, obviously. There was high hopes and dreams by Jets fans, Jets organization, and you, which I think gets forgotten about. You had great visions of going over to New York and with the Jets and leading them to victory for the first time, long time. That ends up not happening. Then the exit, obviously, with new GM, new coach, as you said, seemingly a possibility, regardless. The way it went about it, didn't expect it. So when you leave that meeting.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't surprised that they wanted to move on. But like, why would you not pick my brain? I'm there to like talk to you about the team and about things that I think can get better and things that are good and players that have leadership possibilities and anything. I mean, I've been in the league 20 years. Any type of conversation, there was none. There was none.
Okay, so
that was strange.
Okay, so you leave the building. Probably in I would assume, a little bit of a mood. You get on a plane to fly back across the country. During that flight, are you now contemplating future of ball there, or when does that kind of set in? Is there a conversation about like, don't want to go out like this, or is this a sign from universe, God, that maybe my football life is over? Like, does that expedite the conversation of what your future looks like in football? Does it slow it down? How does that kind of affect what would then happen after that meeting takes place and you become a free agent for the first time basically in your career?
Well, first of all, I told my pilots, hey, have a good night, have some beers. This is going to be a long meeting. Sure, we might even have dinner. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a good, I'm excited about this meeting. So walking out of there, 25 minutes, it was really like 40 minutes because I saw Vito and Gus in the training room. I saw Dave Zuffalato, awesome trainer there. Got to talk to him. So I was there maybe about 40 minutes at one Jets drive. Then I drove home, had some conversations with some people there, including Christopher. But the next day when I left, I was just thinking, hey, that's the closing of that chapter. There's so many beautiful things about the 2 years that I had there. Obviously, most of them off the field, but no, I wasn't upset about it. I was surprised. I felt like there wasn't an ample amount of respect in that meeting. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised based on some of the things I saw over the 2 years, but I am thankful for my time with the Jets. I'm disappointed it didn't work out better on the field, but it didn't damper anything. I just thought, okay, well, now I have the chance to talk to other teams and see what's out there, and then also time to contemplate my own future.
Okay, so let's talk about the other teams that were potentially available. I rattled them off earlier, but we didn't really dive into them. You've been linked to a lot of teams, a lot of conversations. Now, I don't think anybody has said that you have told all of these teams, like, hey, right now there's a lot going on in my personal life, a lot going on. Very serious things with people that I care a lot about, so I am not in a position to make a decision. I assume because you didn't want to go to a team as a quarterback and everything, and then have to miss some time, which is what ended up happening last year with the Jets when you went to 98% of the OTAs and then you missed a weekend and everybody made a big deal out of it. So I appreciate us learning that you were up front with all of these teams. But these teams became very pronounced, seemingly, unless there was a wild card team behind the scenes that we don't know about. Giants. You and the Giants went down the road and chit-chatted a little bit. And did you contemplate playing for the New York Football Giants? And then Vikings, Steelers, I don't know how many other the Saints kind of just got in there. You don't have to lay out all of them, but have you talked to all of those teams? And what was it like being a free agent for the first time while chatting with these squads?
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. I'd never had that experience before. I'm not going to get into specifics about every team that I talked to, but it was a few teams. There were a lot of teams I saw mentioned that I had absolutely zero contact with. I would say I did talk to Brian Daboll and had great conversation with him. Really enjoyed him a lot. I think he's a lot of fun to talk to and has a beautiful football mind. Him and Josh. He had Josh in Buffalo. Josh is one of my closest friends in the league, and I just enjoyed the conversations. He's a really bright football mind. But yeah, there were some other teams that I talked to. Like I already mentioned, KOC is a buddy of mine, and we talk during the season. So it was a cool experience. Obviously, I went out to Pittsburgh and tried to do that as quietly as possible. a lot of people think that I'm desperate for attention, even though I haven't talked to you or anybody else in 3 months. But I did fly into a different airport, not the downtown. I'll tell you what I did secretly. I flew into a different airport. I got a Malibu rental car, drove the Malibu rental car to the facility, to the backside practice field, got let in the practice field, and then somebody in the building must have said something. And when I came out, there was like some cameras that were pointed, but there ain't no way they thought, this dude is not going to be in a Malibu right now. He's not going to be in a Malibu rental car, is he? So I kind of drove by him. They had like a really long lens I was seeing, and Mia did a deep dive to see if anybody got a picture, and there was one person who had a picture, and it didn't go anywhere, of me in the Malibu. But that was fun to kind of sneak in, sneak out. But yeah, I mean, listen, I've talked to Mike Tomlin. He's more than I even thought from afar, as far as the type of person that he is. I have a lot of respect for what he's accomplished in the league. Arthur Smith, you guys have had Art on the show many times.
Love him.
I mean, talk about a guy that doesn't need to work. Doesn't need to work. But he's a grinder. We've had a friendship for a couple years now, and I just like what he's all about. I like when he's on your show. And the quarterback coach is actually a guy named Tom Arth. Tom Arth was in the quarterback room with me in 2006 in Green Bay in the off season. The first off season I ever did, went through the Mike McCarthy quarterback school. It was me and Tom Arth and Tom Clements. And thankfully I had Tom Arth, because those were crazy ass workouts that were really hard. And Tom, we gave each other some breathers here and there, but yeah, great dude. So it was nice to go into the city. I never really spent any time in Pittsburgh other than the few times we played there. But yeah, I've enjoyed talking to Mike.
So what are you doing there? You're doing due diligence on the people and just trying to, do they invite you, obviously, to come maybe learn a little bit more about you? How does that kind of come about, you flying to probably the Beaver County Airport or Butler County Airport, hopping into Malibu, pulling in the back?
I'm not going to tell you what airport we flew into, because it was great in and out, man. There was like it wasn't even.
It's always like that.
It was.
It's easy.
That's Pittsburgh, baby. There. Pittsburgh's easy. Don't worry about the traffic. Don't worry about that. I mean, Pittsburgh's good. But how did that come about? You guys just kind of wanted to see each other, kind of meet each other? Because if you were up front with them, was saying, hey, right now, off season, a lot going on. Lot that is kind of taking my attention. And I assume they understand, especially if they learned what it was. There was just like, we should at least do some due diligence for each other. Is that kind of how that comes about with you traveling to Pittsburgh?
It's different when you're talking on the phone. Luckily with my lack of service here, it's a lot of FaceTimes, but it's different in person. I just, personally, I wanted to see what it was like there, see the facility, get to meet Omar in person, see just get a glimpse, a snippet of what life would be like in Pittsburgh. So I thought it was important to go see it in person, and I also want to do it as quietly as possible. So there were very few people that even knew I was heading out that way, besides Mike and Omar and Arthur. Like even Tom Arth didn't find out till that morning. And I've known Tom forever. I got to reconnect with him last year on the field. I hadn't seen him like in person in probably like 19 years. This guy was in my quarterback room. I guess it was 18 years if it was 2006, but he didn't even know till the morning. So it was nice to be able to get in early and get out.
We found a picture of you in the Malibu. We found the Malibu.
Hey, there it is, right there. That was me.
You look like you got a hoodie, sunglasses, hat on, Malibu. That is awesome. You're an attention whore there. Remember, you're an attention.
Yeah. That was the exact picture that I saw. So I saw these people. I said, damn, they're going to get a good pic here. At least I got my SR hat on. Shout out to Mike. But But yeah, that pick never went anywhere. So now, obviously, that's
there it is.
I mean, everybody knew I was there at that point. But yeah, that's me driving to Malibu. Right
I want to let you know the people of Pittsburgh will respect the fact you're driving around in a boo, brother. I'm going to let you know that now. Let's stay in Pittsburgh. AP Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, not me necessarily, Aaron, but there's going to be a lot of Steelers fans who want to know if you are still in contact with the team, and if they gave you a deadline, because there's a lot of people in Pittsburgh talking about deadline. They need to have you before the draft. They need to have you before minicamp, whatever, OTAs. Are you still in contact with them? Did they give you a deadline, or did they say, hey, you know what, take your time, deal with what you have to do personally, and then just let us know?
Listen, this entire time, I haven't felt like I owed anybody some sort of decision at any point. This is my life. Like I said, things are different now. My life is different. My personal life is different. I have stuff in the inner circle that I'm intimately close to. That it's really important to me, and I've been upfront with them about that and said, listen, if you need to move on, if you need to do something, by all means, like nothing but love and respect. If that's a decision that needs to be made, but there's been no deadline, and yeah, I've talked to Mike T many times.
Okay, so you're still in contact with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Feels like the trip went well. You're dealing with stuff in your life right now. Steelers seemingly understand that. Didn't want to out you, because I assume there's a lot of times where Steelers, because they're getting questioned a lot by the Steelers fans. Hey, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? They have tried to completely kind of, I want to say dumb it down, but basically not say anything. So it feels like there is a trust between you two, which is great. And we saw some photos from UCLA, Nico Iamaleava's school. AJ has a question for you.
Yeah, Aaron, we saw you throw into DK Metcalf. First off, did you hire the videographer, photographer for that? What was this all about? How'd it go? I mean, you were pumped about this completion. You had a nice little dig across the middle, it looks like. But how did this come about, and who is this? Where is this footage from? Who took it?
It was the other guy. I think his name is Alex. Was there? I don't know if he's a full-time guy for DK, but yeah, he was taking some video and some pictures. And I said, it was fine if DK released it. And I don't think DK did. I think actually the kid did. So I'm not sure if everybody was super excited about that. Maybe they were. I don't care either way. But yeah, again, I wanted to do due diligence with this whole process, and part of it is talking to a guy like DK. And let me just say this: what a great dude! What a great dude who loves football, and I mean, what a specimen this guy is. I was laughing with him because I said, "Where do you work out?" Because I've been working out at Proactive here for a long time, even rocking the Proactive gear and that shirt. He goes, "Oh, UCLA." I said, what time do you work out? He said, 6 a.m. I said, you got anybody else working out with you? He said, they last a few weeks at most, but then they taper off because nobody wants to work out that early. And then when we were throwing, I said, hey, can it not be 6 a.m.? I got to drive. PCH is closed. So we threw it. We met at 8 in the morning, which is much nicer than 6. But yeah, I've had a few conversations with DK, and I just think he's a super guy. Part of the process is just, with this whole thing is seeing how my body is, how it responds, how I feel. I'm 41 years old. Take pretty damn good care of myself, but I wanted to see how it felt to throw with DK and how the juices felt, and how the ball came out, and just all those little things, and also just get to know DK. And like I said, that's a really good human being. Like from the first conversation I had with him, he was saying like, "Yes, sir," and "No, sir," and I said,
"You old ass."
Just because I'm old? No, that's just how he talked. He's just a really respectful dude, and an absolute specimen. He's accomplished a lot in the league, and I've enjoyed getting to know him a little bit. Enjoyed throwing to him. I mean, what a talented guy he is.
Okay, so I'm gonna get right to the point here. You love DK, love Tomlin.
Wait till you meet GP and Pat.
Yeah, George Pickens, Freiermuth, absolute beast. The city of Pittsburgh is. I mean, wait till you try Rudy Subs. Everybody knows Permane sandwiches, Dallas Sala's pizza. Holy hell. I mean, there's so much to love about the city that I assume you didn't get to experience in your one day in your Malibu, easy in, easy out. But it sounds like what you're saying, and you like Dayball. Obviously, the Vikings, you and KOC have a relationship. That was the thing. They got J.J. McCarthy over there. But there's been a lot of chatter about you going to the Steelers. And nothing that you have said here has made me believe that you're ruling out going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that an accurate assessment? And if you were to play again, does it feel like it would probably be for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, again, I'm going back to it, but I am trying to be open to everything and not specifically attached to anything when it comes to this decision. I'm not holding anybody hostage. I really want to emphasize that. Nothing about what I'm saying. I've been upfront from the beginning. I don't mean any disrespect to any player on their team, veteran or young guy that comes in. I'm just going through a lot in my personal life that has to take precedent at this point, because that's a big commitment, and when the commitment is made, it has to be an all-in type commitment. And I know people say, "Oh, well, you missed minicamp last year." It's like, we can go down that story at some point for a different time, but not now. I've talked about it at length, but I don't think it was fair to the Steelers or anyone, to make a decision while I'm dealing with a lot off the field. So at the same time, I want to keep the lines of communication open. That's why I've talked to all the important people, and the people that need to know what's going on, and the people that don't make up shit about me, and that really hasn't changed since COVID. So.
Well, I think even before COVID, which is why Aaron Rodgers Tuesday even started, then I think COVID probably expedited.
Well, COVID, put it on steroids for sure.
Yeah. We're not going to get.
Still, I haven't. Not that I need one. I haven't got an apology. I haven't got an apology yet about anything COVID related. I haven't actually heard. I don't need that. I was just like maybe some of the, the same crew one time, and maybe admit, especially after everything has been released, you were wrong.
Maybe that hippie out there, maybe that football doofus who had a 500-page report that kind of gets lost in the entire thing, had a little bit of piece of information ahead of time, and maybe that type of mentality and stick-to-itiveness is a reason why he's a GOAT whenever it comes to football. Now, you said you're trying to keep the lines of communication open. I would assume that there's a reality about what is next week. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Aaron, great to see you. Always a pleasure. Next week, the draft, and I'm not saying, what prospects do you love, because I assume, like you said, you've been dealing with a lot of stuff. You're not really locked in on that specifically, but have you kind of thought about the idea of certain teams making certain moves, and does that change anything? You said you're attached to nothing, but if there was one team that maybe went a certain direction, would that change a thought on maybe possibly playing for them, opening the door to go to that team? And then also, you brought up last year's minicamp. We now all know over the last 3 months you went to Egypt to explore the tunnels beneath the pyramids.
Bingo.
I wish I had.
Okay.
I mean, shit, I've read a lot of stuff about, even before the what is it, LiDAR, what they're using to expose it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bare minimum, those weren't tombs. So
Okay. Bare minimum.
Boom.
Just at the bare minimum of the conversation.
Bare minimum.
Okay.
Bare minimum.
Well, happy you went over that. We didn't know if you had a shovel when you went over there.
Yeah.
You were digging down to see what was there. But anyways, go ahead.
I wish, but I haven't seen one draft prospect film or nothing. I mean, I watched some college football for sure. I did see the running back from Boise State. He was at UCLA the day that DK and I worked out, and he is a specimen now.
Yeah.
He's put together. He is put together well. Yeah, he is well put together. And I think, I don't know, maybe Bijan Robinson. Who's the last running back to go in the top 10?
Bijan,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Bijan? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's probably going to be, he'll probably go in the top 10. And, I mean, just the eye test, he passes the eye test for sure.
Look at this. We got a mock drafter, Aaron Rodgers, while doing this. But does the draft affect anything that you are going through?
Oh, no. Not at all.
You just kind of, you'll watch it, see what it is, and then we'll catch up and see what happened on the other side?
I mean, listen, I'm not going to say I won't watch it because I know you guys are doing it. If I watch anything at all, I'll be watching you guys.
That's kind of you. Thank you.
I'll say that.
We'll be
and you're going back to my old stomping grounds.
Mm-hmm. That's right. AJ,
fantastic.
the heralded son of Green Bay is coming
right.
back to Green Bay. It'll be great to see him out there.
what type of reception do you think he's going to get? Because he did end up playing for a couple other teams. Is he going to get cheers? Or
all-time leading tackler for the
boos?
Green Bay Packers. They got to go bananas for A.J. Hawk, we would assume.
They're waiting on you to come back, Aaron, just like we were at the big night out.
Yeah, what's that all about? I thought you were making your decision at Big Night Out.
Sorry I couldn't make it. Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it. Yeah, really wanted to be there.
Yeah. I know you're a guy that loves all the attention and the spotlight and everything like that. He told me, he was like, could you imagine if I go in there? I'd be the biggest asshole of all time. The amount of time that you put into this and all the people that you have, and then I show up and it's just like...
Hey, that was a private conversation.
Okay, all right. I'm just telling you.
I'm still not sure.
I'm telling you, yeah. Aaron, I'm telling you, Aaron was like, the fact that I was, he like almost apologetic that it was even like a part of the company. You need to know if you would have been there, definitely trotting your ass right out to that middle. You're getting a football in those, right hand and left handed. I want to see both out there. We would have loved having you, but I do respect and appreciate you being like, you didn't like that was a big part of the narrative, which I respect out of you. And I think a lot of people kind of misunderstand who you are as a human as a whole. And I can't wait to see what you do next, legitimately. How often are you thinking about it? Like whenever we saw that picture of you on the beach, like there's 1,000 things going on in your personal life, so I guess you could be contemplating anything. But how often is football on the mind? I assume it has to be a lot. Legit, I assume it has to be. And are you listening to, oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law. Boom, boom. Or Tone Diggs wondered if you actually had wave crashing sound in your headphones because the ocean wasn't making good enough wave crashing sounds.
Thank you.
So you just kind of amplified it in there. How much are you contemplating football? Is it an every day, every hour? What is if you had to just put like kind of a time frame on it?
I mean, it's a small percentage because the conversations have been had. There's no more contemplation. I'm taking care of my people right now, and I'm taking care of my personal life responsibilities, and I'm keeping the conversation open as well. What I listen to on the beach, I listen to mostly Alan Watts speeches.
Oh, really? He's a good one. That guy's an orator.
That was our second guess. Our second guess.
That's guys. Yeah, we did.
That was the second guess.
Yeah.
Oh, TJ Watt's speech.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, JJ's dad.
Watts.
Yeah, it's all the Watts. Okay, yeah, we're tying it together. Is TJ gonna be there? He's turning out the peace sign. Last question for me. Your helmet being banned. Is this something that's crossed your mind on, you know what? The helmet goes, I go.
Uh-oh.
Again, I didn't hear about that until I don't know if it was Mia or Tim, but one of them let me know that was out there. Listen, I know it's been on the edge. I mean, I've worn multiple Shutt helmets that have all been on the edge. And then at some point, I think this is at least the second, if not the third helmet I've worn that is like got cycled out because it doesn't pass the concussion test good enough.
Dog. Absolute dog.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know the inner workings of Shutt, but if I were to play, I'm gonna wear a Shutt if they're still going. If they still got a good helmet that passes some sort of test, that's what I wear. I'm a Shutt guy. I've been for 20 years. I've tried other helmets at other times in college, but that was my favorite helmet. So it's too bad that they banned it because I haven't had a concussion in a number of years. But they make damn good helmets.
I'll tell you what, if Shutt can pass a protocol, I'm going to wear it. Now, it's on the edge. How about him saying on the edge? Yeah. Every time it needs a score of at least 6.4 or higher. This thing's 6.41.
I mean, it's been on the bottom of the yellow for sure at least the last 3 or 4 years. It goes green. It's all the Vices and different ones, the best Riddell ones. And then it'd be like the Shutt XP, whatever, Pro down at the bottom that I wear. Like just 2 notches above, that no one else in the league is wearing.
They put that up on the jumbo, like on the screen at training camp. because they'll come out and do an entire presentation about the new models, the new studies, the new research, the new everything. It's part of the equipment room. And they do have like a scale. Here's the safest in our eyes helmet. And then they do say like, these ones have been banned. These ones are close. That's a hilarious thing. You describe it as on the edge because everybody's like looking, oh, nice new model. And then Aaron every time like, still good. All right. I don't know how they're rolling that one out there again.
I swear to God, it's one of the first things I look at. Is there was always like a player in a helmet, and it had like green, yellow, and red. And I'd always look for that little shit. I'm like, oh, well, we're still good. Still good.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you are still open to things. I'm happy to hear that it seems like your football conversations in life are going in a positive fashion. I'm happy to hear that you're driving in a Malibu in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on a Friday out of nowhere. I'm sorry to hear about you going through a lot of things in your personal life with your inner circle. And we all are excited to hear about what you're going to do with your future whenever you figure out the time is right to make that decision. We appreciate the hell out of you, man.
Yeah, listen, I don't have sources. I don't have people that are out there pushing narratives. I speak for myself. And it's been nice to be quiet for the last few months. It's funny in that time period how the shit narrative goes fucking crazy, right? When I haven't said a fucking word. So there's nothing to say. I just laid out where I'm at. There's nothing else to report. There's no other reason to be continuing to talk about me at this point. So it's time to turn the page. All those people that have made a lot of money slandering my name, apologize for COVID.
Okay.
Say your vax status.
Okay. All right. I'm happy to hear you. A couple months off. Still got the fastball.
And fucking keep it moving.
Yeah, you're right. How you doing? Keep it moving. Tell Apollo we said hello. Can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at right now. He must be laying down on the ground here somewhere.
Pissing on something. He's pissing on something. He's chewing.
Probably, chewing something up for sure. He's chewing something
Huskies
up.
are very not active either.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And Apollo.
No, not at all.
Apollo is a
dog.
I can tell just by looking at four legs and everything. Two different eyes, right? Huskies.
Sometimes. Oh, yeah.
Nah, they're
blues.
both blue. They're both blue.
Like Dad.
For Apollo.
That's what you're saying.
Oh, Australian Shepherds.
Yeah.
They have the different eyes a lot.
Have you ever seen a half wolf, half husky? You ever seen that one? Those are big.
Yeah.
Those are big dogs.
Dire wolves are back.
Connor, are you thinking about going to space anytime soon or not?
I don't know. It depends if we got any green screens around here. I can go later on.
Okay. Aaron, we appreciate you, brother. Hope you stay on land. Hope you make whatever decision makes you the happiest.
I might go in the ocean later, but other than that, I will. I'll be good right here.
Watch those dolphins.
Yeah, careful.
Watch those dolphins.
I don't see any right now. There's a guy down there fishing, though.
Good luck out
Not sure
there,
what
pal.
he's fishing for.
Well,
hey, thanks. You guys be safe out there. And if you go to Green Bay, man, and you want dinner, go to Chives.
Can we stay at your house?
Yes.
Yeah. Boom.
Go to Chives. Stay at Aaron's. Life is good. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron.
Okay, so as a Steelers fan, what did you hear? Because I'll tell you what I heard.
Go ahead.
What I heard was...
Yeah.
Sounds like...
If he's playing, he's playing.
That sounds like... That is what I heard.
Due diligence.
Not only is due diligence, and he wouldn't say it there, obviously, it's very personal. It's very serious things that are happening to people very close to him, and I think he is a big part of helping his... I think he's a big part. So I think he probably didn't want to make a decision, do it all, knowing that he was going to be absent, not only physically, but like mentally as well.
Yeah.
He's very serious things. He won't say it, and I don't want to... I almost feel like it... I'm not going to say it. There's very, very, very serious, not for him, but people very close to him. And he feels, I think, compelled or
responsible.
Yeah, he's helping people out.
People that have been around him a long time that have had a lot of things happen to them that are very, very serious. So he feels, so I think he doesn't want to, I think he was very upfront with people like, I don't want to do this. And then, because I don't think he liked how big that story got last year about the OTAs.
No.
He was like, I was here every...
If he's going to be in, he's going to be there fully.
I think that's what he wants to do. Yeah, because I think he wants it to very much work. Like if he's going to continue to play, which he said he's still open to retirement, which potentially is something. He doesn't want to go like what the Jets. Like he's going to want it to have success. So I think It sounded like he is a fan of the Steelers, is what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's not in a time to make a decision or in a time to commit to a football team right now and be their quarterback at the age of 41 with everything going on around him. But it sounds like, let's see what takes place. And then, it sounds like he likes Mike Tomlin, what's going on in UPMC down there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, obviously he loves Coach T. He said Coach T exceeded his expectations. Loves Artie Smith. As we've said many, many times, Artie Smith didn't need to be sleeping on a couch. He could be an exec at FedEx if he really wanted to. Got to meet Omar. I know everyone in the facility, from what I heard, loved Aaron and everything went great inside of there. I mean, him renting a Malibu and cruising through the streets of the Pittsburgh is awesome. Doing his due diligence with DK and everything like that. And he spoke so glowingly of DK, which, we knew we gave him $30 million. No, it sounds like if he's going to be playing football, it's going to be for the Steelers, which I am so happy.
In the Vikings, he was like, me and KOC know each other very well. Didn't really dive into that much. Gave him a couple opportunities to dive into the Vikings. Didn't. So it sounds like in his eyes, maybe not as big of a story as maybe we or anybody else is kind of making it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when you think about it, he was already in the league when KOC got drafted to New England. So you assume they probably had a relationship a long, long time ago before KOC was even a coach.
It feels like a lot's going on in his personal life, but he feels like he's at peace too.